so 90s, unbelievable. But I mean, to each their own, no judgment.
Yeah.
So I find it very important because throughout the day, if you don't sit in silence, you don't know what's going on because you're always checking out, like every email you check out, every phone call you check out. So for me personally, I feel the only way to really truly check in is to move your body and then to sit in silence. I mean, there's a reason why they say yoga is the way to meditation. Like to be able to quiet the mind, you have to move the body first. Like to get tired, to embody yourself, to be in body, to be present. And then you can sit, and then you can come into the mode, which is like the most difficult for people to understand. If I say, I want you to observe your thoughts, right? And there is this guy from Headspace, Andy, whatever his last name is, and he has this amazing image that he always says, and he's like, imagine a highway, right? And your mind is the highway and your thoughts are the cars. You're not jumping in front of a driving car on the highway, so you're going to get killed. Why would you jump in front of your thoughts? Like imagine that and just stand by the side of the highway and watch everything pass by, right? And that is something I feel makes it a bit more tangible for everyone, because also I think what people understand mostly wrong with being in silence is that it has to be silent. And it will never be, right? There will always be a thought. Like you will have these moments of, I don't know, let's call them bliss or whatever you want to name it. But there will always be another thought, because this is just what the mind is for, like to keep you busy and to give you food for thought. And it's your job to take the mind and to make it work for you so that you are not working for the mind.
And the goldfish.
And the goldfish. Or the turtle, I mean.
Exactly. They come and go as well. Well, so when you practice for yourself, are you mostly in silence or are you in music? And if you're in music, what kind of music is it? Because if it's, music with text, you're like, oh, I'm just listening to music right now. So how does that work?
It works every day differently. I used to have a phase because I love also going to the gym. I'm not just practicing yoga. I practice, like strength and resilience and all that kind of stuff too. And I used to have a phase where I was only listening to podcasts while I was working out. So there was no music. It was just like moving and like getting more input. And then I had a phase where I was only listening to classical music. Like even when I was lifting weights and doing push-ups and pull-ups, I was listening to like this, piano, whatever kind of things. And then, I mean, it always changes, like sometimes I'm not listening to anything at all. I consider going out with the dog also as a workout if we do that in the morning. And then, like I'll try to
Poor dog.
She loves it. She's such a rowdy, you have no idea. I mean, she is insane for being so tiny, like you would think she's done after 10 minutes. She can go for 2 hours. She has no problem.
Oh my
God. She's like
good dog.
Running insane. So she fits to the family.
Now, that's Amy, almost as famous as any of us. Exactly. Yeah, the dog influencer, Amy. Yeah, well, I mean, when you have started your own practice and when you started building also up your following and everything, you must also have a very good eye for beauty in how you put things together. Where does that come from?
Well, I mean, honestly, I have to say yes and no. I have very talented friends. I'm very blessed and lucky to have them. When it comes to our podcast, it's like everything that has to do with design is my partner, Annie. I have nothing to do with that because she is trained in that and she has the eye and everything. And the rest, I mean, I've definitely always liked beautiful things, even as a child. I don't know why. It was just always there. I was like never reading Bravo. I was always reading Vogue and Brigitte Young Miss, even as a teenager. God knows, my mom was
to be later featured on Vogue and Elle, and you have to practice your way up, man.
So yeah, I don't know. And then just for taking pictures, I have two friends and they're both photographers, and I just tell them, you know, like my ideas, and then they help me work through them. Like especially Alicia, I love her so much, and I mean, taking pictures with her is just like the most fun thing. It's like a little get together, you know, and it always goes so fast, and she has such an amazing eye and she knows exactly what to do, you know, and then half an hour later you have 200 pictures and you're like, okay, wow, like how did that happen? So
Awesome.
just
That's
lucky.
really cool. And I know that right now you're also working on a new venture, putting your yoga classes into the digital realm. Let's talk about that.
Yes, so next to doing yoga and meditation, we have the podcast, The Q, which is all about like health and wellness. And we do interviews every other week with all kinds of people, you know, that work in those industries and that have something to say to those topics. And since, you know, like we don't just want to rely on the podcast, but we really want to build it out as like a platform for learning and living in a way. We started, or tomorrow starts our first 4-week online course. I know.
Yeah.
It's called, in German, it's called Stichwort Meditation. So it's all about
Okay.
your personal practice. And within those 4 weeks, we basically go side by side with the people that participate and help them establish their own personal practice. It's rooted in Kundalini yoga and meditation. But what I want them to understand is that yes, definitely sit and meditate. But again, like pick the meditations that resonate with you, you know, like, and then pick all the other things that feel good for you, because you know, like it doesn't just have to be yoga and meditation. You can include your daily walk into your practice, you know, like you can make drinking your coffee a little ritual. So it's about getting to know Kundalini yoga and meditation, what a personal practice can look like. We have 4 weeks. Each week has one topic. It's intention, vision, definition, and integration, which I think is super important, because this is what it comes down to. People want to have a practice, but they do not know how to do it in a day-to-day basis. And that is what I want to show them, how to do that, and what are the important steps and things to do to come to the point where it's not even a question if you're sitting anymore. You just get up and you sit.
That's really interesting, because you know, I can imagine that it's always about also overcoming yourself, because you know, so are there days where you're like, I don't feel like it, but then you still
Barely ever. I mean, I'm honestly, I get up at between 5:30 and 6,
oh my
and
God.
I sit for, I mean, you don't have to do it that early. I also, if you rather meditate in the evening, go for it, right? For me, it makes sense. Like I've always been a morning person, and I just like to have this done before everyone else wakes up, so that I feel for myself I have a little bit of a head start, right? If I get up too late, I feel the entire day like I'm half an hour behind, and that doesn't work for me. So I started this habit of really getting up early, and then I just sit for half an hour, 45 minutes. I have different meditations that I'm doing, and then I stick with them for 40, 90, 120 days kind of thing, and then I rotate them a little bit around. And there's always, I mean, what I have is definitely sometimes days and days and days where my mind just, you know, like I do my thing, but it just like it's somewhere else. And I get out and I laugh about myself, and I'm like, okay, great. So that's where we are today. That's going to be interesting. And then it's going to be another day and another day. And then all of a sudden there is a day and I feel like I just went to the moon and came all the way back. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. So that was intense. And that is also what I find interesting for people to look at as a concept, to see it as an experiment, right? To take out the whole pressure of you have to meditate because everyone is meditating and everyone in Silicon Valley is meditating, and like, you know, it's so effective and so efficient, you know. Yeah, you might, you know, but if you look at it as an experiment, there's some kind of lightness that goes with it, and you're not punishing yourself for the moments when you sit and it is going to be a mess. because those moments will happen, right? And then again, you have the choice. You can either be like, oh, I'm so shitty and it's never gonna work and I'm a terrible meditator, or you can just let it go and be like, oh, okay, interesting, good, let's see how it is tomorrow, and move on.
I have a question about all of this, because also you mentioned the Silicon Valley and all of this practice. I mean, when we think about the Eastern cultures where all of these practices are originally or originating from, and then look at our use of these practices as if it's going to be something like a golden formula to suddenly bring out the next big thing in business. And when you also think about the corporations, they're giving their people the yoga practice because they want to power up efficiency and less drama. So how does this even fit together, Michaela?
I mean, that's a really
sorry for
question.
asking that question. I can take it back.
No, I mean, okay, look, it's a really good question. Definitely we have different views on that, right? And it is true that meditation can increase your memory, and you'll get more clear and you get more calm, and with that you get more productive and you get more creative and all that kind of stuff. But and then how you use it in the end, it's everybody's personal choice, right? And I find it sad that we're still work-wise in this culture of more is better, and higher, faster, all that kind of stuff. Because that ends up in what you've mentioned before, like all those people that are somehow burned out and not very happy people anymore, because even though they do meditate, they don't do it to check in. They check out in a different way because they do it to just quote unquote be productive. So I think it's a matter of, again, changing perspective, and changing perspective when it comes to work culture. If that's really all we want from the people, to just like work as machines or whatever you want to call it, or
just feel good about themselves while they're actually self-exploiting.
Yeah. Or do we really want to like create a work environment where they can work the way they want, like where we trust that they will be productive, that they will finish the task that they are given, but on their own terms, so that they feel they have a little bit more self-reliance in what it is that they do, right? I fear that's going to be a long way, even though this whole situation might help a little bit with people understanding that home office may not be the worst thing and that people still get the job done. But it's going to be a long shot for sure.
I truly, I mean, I would wonder if anybody ever meditated and then afterwards had the feeling that they don't have enough money. Like, now I know the purpose of my life, it's to have more money. So it's really weird how these things kind of go together. We're coming very close to the end. How's your food doing?
Look
at this. I did cookies.
Oh wow, that went so fast. Okay, look.
I know.
Usually it looks a little bit prettier, but here we go. A little bit of avocado.
Well done. Yeah. Yes. Look, this is a real cookie. And
wow.
Yesterday they looked so shitty, but today with with almonds, they just look much better with almonds. So if you guys are doing them with coconuts, I learned something yesterday. Let them cool down before you take them out.
Okay, makes sense.
Exactly. So it's just 2 eggs, some sugar, and almonds.
Amazing.
We're done. Yeah, perfect. Well, we have the tradition of telling jokes at the end of the show. Do you have one for me?
I have one really stupid one that comes right from my area. So it says that there is a yoga student who asked the teacher if she can send him an email, and he says, yes, please, just no attachments. Sorry, I had to do it.
Actually, I have a yoga joke too. Because I was preparing for you. What does the sign say at the outside of the yoga studio?
I have no idea.
Please inquire within. Isn't it good?
Love it.
There were a lot of namaste jokes, but I was like,
That's way better. This one, I like it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Michaela, for joining me tonight. I think it was a lovely, lovely chat with you. I'm hoping that, soon all of this is going to be over and we'll get to hang out in Berlin or in some other place for a longer time. Wishing you all the best for the next 4 weeks. It's a challenge to be doing these classes now for the next couple of weeks, the podcasts. Thank you for being.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. Stay safe. And yeah, let's make cookies when this is over. Your kitchen or mine, I don't care.
Absolutely. And our dogs have to get friends too. my dog needs to learn some Instagram. From Amy, exactly. So lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
At home. Bye-bye. And
Bye.
stay on the line while I say bye-bye, because we usually have a very short after show party with our guests. Guys, thank you wherever you are in the world for tuning in. I'm hoping to see you tomorrow at the show at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. The Entrepreneur's Chicken. At the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. It's going to be show number 33. Alina Mikaleva is going to be with us. She's a virtual reality expert, but even more, she's a media expert. She's going to be talking about how to consume less media. And it's going to be unbelievably interesting. She's organizing virtual reality conferences, which is extremely relevant right now. So tune in if you want to get to learn more about all of these things. Thank you again for joining me tonight. Unfortunately, you can't taste the cookies, but who knows, maybe sometime in the real world. Bye-bye. Good night. Lovely to see you.